Hello, welcome back to the VTOL VR Definitive Campaign Guide. We're going to be continuing the 1 Minute to Midnight campaign, going into Mission 3. Last time we completed a notoriously difficult mission, and which we couldn't even fight back, and had an instant loss condition, so that's always fun, but yeah. Anyways, moving on to Mission 3, Blinding Darkness. Take the first step in regaining control of the air by destroying the enemy AWACS. Okay. Blinding Darkness, that means, this is a nighttime mission, which means y'all ain't gonna be able to see anything unless I do color correction. So, yay. The enemy have continued to build up air defenses in the region, further hindering our ability to operate effectively. Before we can begin to push back, we need to eliminate their AWACS. We are still awaiting we are still awaiting the arrival of a resupply convoy at the airbase, so we will send you alone. We don't have the means to run a seed operation, so you will need to maneuver into firing range while masking or jamming air defenses. The AWACS is flanked by fighter escorts, but they won't engage unless they deem you to be a direct threat, so you should be able to jam your way into firing distance and delay their counterattack. Return to base immediately on confirmed destruction of the AWACS. It's too dangerous to engage the fighters once they turn on you, so just come back to safety and let our base defenses keep the fighters away. Okay, but if the fighters actually engage us, we're gonna have to fight back, because we can't really outrun, because outrunning them is hard. But anyways, so we gotta think of a loadout. So we gotta do a loadout for this mission. This is purely air-to-air. We do not need a targeting pod. This is purely air-to-air. Our only objective is to kill the AWACS. That is our only target. If we kill the AWACS and return to base. Of course, ideally we want to not get spotted before we get into firing range, because, you know, if we get spotted, that's gonna make things a hell of a lot harder. So we have a plan for this mission. First of all, we're gonna bring. We need to bring some jamming pods to help with the which will allow us to get into position. We're gonna jam the AWACS. We're basically gonna primarily be jamming the AWACS so that they can't see us coming. Hopefully. Then on our belly hardpoints, we'll be carrying a couple of AIM-54 Phoenix missiles. These are long-range air-to-air missiles, and by long range I mean very long range. Yeah, we're gonna carry a couple of AIM-54 Phoenixes, and these are going to be what we're gonna be using to take out the AWACS. And yeah, these are very long range. They have basically Phoenix missiles are basically like, if you can detect the target, you can shoot at it. That's how long range. If you can detect it on radar, you can shoot at it. Anyways, we only need 2 Phoenix missiles, because well, technically we only need 1, but it's good to have 2. You know, 1 for symmetry and 2 as a backup, just in case our first one, like, you know, locks onto something, decides to lock onto something else. Anyway, and on our other belly hardpoints, when we're carrying these ADM-160J molds. They're called molds because the enemy will be molding when they realize they're not real targets. I mean, mold stands for Miniature Air Launch Decoy. These are basically decoy missiles, which can either perform jamming or can mimic the radar signals of another aircraft. So yeah, they last for a quite long time. I think they last for like these have enough fuel to last for like 10 minutes. So yeah. And these will be helpful. These are mainly going to be helpful for jamming the AWACS while we try to acquire it, because remember, we cannot use our radar we cannot use our radar while jamming. So these will jam for us while we try to acquire the AWACS on radar, and while we acquire and track the AWACS. So yeah. And then on our wing hardpoint, we're just gonna be carrying a couple of AMRAMs and Sidewinders, and these are basically in case of emergency, in case we get spotted. In case we get spotted, we're just gonna be carrying these for self-defense in case we get spotted. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Let's go. Do we want to change liveries? Oh, let's go with the aggressor squadron, the dark livery. There, yeah, extra camo. That's not gonna matter at all, but let's do it.
Echo 1-1, clear for start. I know we're putting a lot of pressure on you, but until we get that resupply, we only have enough equipment to send you out alone. We know you can do it.
Roger that. All right. Yeah. I hope we're getting hazard pay for this mission. Let's get her started up. Prepare our systems. We do not have a TGP, so we're just gonna get rid of the TGP display and replace it with the decoy display, which is what allows us to control and launch our molds. Now, before we get airborne, we're just gonna set up something real quick. We're gonna move our nav display cursor over to roughly where objective point is.
Fighters won't leave the AWACS side unless they deem you to be a direct threat. So before you make your attack run, take a moment to figure out how you're gonna jam your way into firing range. You've got scattered ground radars and the AWACS itself to deal with.
Roger. So as I said, before we take off, we're gonna roughly bring our nav display cursor to roughly where our objective point is. This is basically gonna be a marker. We're just gonna set this as a marker point for our molds. We're gonna set a target altitude of about 5,000 feet, and then we're gonna set this course into our. We're gonna mark this course into our molds. Yep, courses have been set into our molds. So basically, once we launch, when we launch the molds, they're gonna head towards this point and maintain about 5,000 feet. I recommend doing that before taking off. Anyways, before we take off, let's go over our ingress route. So we're not gonna fly directly towards the target because there's a lot of SAM radars, and if we get spotted by any of them, that they're gonna alert the enemy. So instead, we have an ingress route. Here's our ingress route. We're gonna fly over these mountains over here into these plains, which will shield us from the radars, because the radars are mostly in the mountains. And then we're gonna fly through this canyon right here. Yes, this is a canyon. This is gonna be a canyon run. We're gonna fly through this canyon, and that will also shield us from enemy radar. Apart from the AWACS, we're gonna be jamming the AWACS. So yeah. I'm actually gonna be bringing my I'm gonna bring up my my jammer display right here, and over here we're just gonna pull up the radar. We're gonna have it here. I don't know, spectator cam, sure. Yeah, sure. Set up spectator cam. All right, and yeah, and that's the plan. So let's get out there. Tower, Echo 1-1, request takeoff. Tower, Echo 1-1, request takeoff. Tower, Echo 1-1, request takeoff.
Copy. Taxi to runway 32.
Alright, let's go. Runway 32. Runway 32 is basically the runway that we landed on, is the runway that we landed on before last time, but we're taking off the opposite way. There is actually a bit of wind in this mission. There is a bit of wind, and there's gonna be a little bit of, so there's gonna be actually a bit of crosswind on takeoff. And fun fact, if there is wind, and if there is wind, and if there is wind, ATC will actually try to assign you a runway that takes off into the wind, because that's how because you always want to take off into the wind. Because that's how planes work. That's how planes in the wind work. More headwind because more headwind equals more lift. Anyways, here's runway 32. Yep. Here at runway 32 verified. Let's go. Wings forward.
1, tower, clear for takeoff at runway 32.
Flaps 2. We're clear for takeoff. Let's go. Yeah, as you saw, I didn't bring any external tanks in this mission either, because this mission is short enough that we won't. This mission is short enough that we won't need external fuel. Alright, positive rate, gear up. Yeah, you saw how short our takeoff roll was because of the wind. You saw how short our takeoff roll was. Anyways, we're already detecting the signal of the AWAC, the signal of the AWACS on our RWR. So pretty much as soon as we're airborne, we're gonna start jamming the AWACS. The AWACS operates on low band. The AWACS operates on low band, and we're pretty much just gonna be exclusively jamming in the AWACS, at least for now. Alright, let me actually put on night vision, because it's actually pretty hard to see. There's no moon in the sky at all. Because actually this campaign also came out before the time of day update. Before the dynamic time of day update. Which kind of like made every previous night mission super dark. Alright, so we're gonna stay low. We're gonna go across these planes right here. I forgot to set up my altitude alerts. Hold on. We're actually gonna set our altitude mode to radar. $200 feet. That'll do. Get flashbanged. Alright, and we're gonna stay low. We're actually gonna reduce our speed a bit. And reduce the brightness. Pro tip: if you're gonna be using light vision, just turn down the brightness of your displays. And that way you'll be actually be able to see your displays with the night vision on. Alright, so we're gonna follow the route I described over these hills, over these hills into the plains, and then we're gonna dive into the canyon.
Altitude. Pull up.
Shush. Shush.
Altitude. Altitude.
Shush. Alright. Real quick, I'm gonna set up my molds. So I've already told you that the molds have been set up to proceed to the target. To fly towards roughly either where the AWACS is. We're just gonna set our molds to noise jam the AWACS on low frequency. I think the target, it doesn't really work it doesn't really work too well, but before you launch it. But anyways, we're basically gonna launch it we're gonna launch our molds once we get within about 32 miles of the target location. So let's stay low. Actually, you know, radar should be over here. I also recommend activating HUD mode on the radar, but that's not going to do anything until our radar is actually until our radar actually comes up. All right, we're approaching the canyon. Approaching the canyon. Let's turning towards the canyon. They should still be blind to our approach because we're jamming the AWACS. I mean, yeah, that's not suspicious at all, right? The AWACS suddenly sees that there's jamming. That's not suspicious at all. The AWACS is being escorted by 2 ASF-58s, but they don't seem to have their radars on at the moment. They will turn on their radars once. They will turn on their radars if you get detected, though. So, yeah, then, you know, they'll try to hunt you. They'll be hunting you down. Be aware of that. Oh, I forgot to set my wing sweep to auto. Whoops. It doesn't really matter. We're basically still at full forward at wing sweep anyways. Let's see if we can make our eyes adjust our eyes a bit better to. Not really. It's still super dark. Oh, excuse me. All right. Now now we are in the canyon. What we're gonna do is arming weapons, and we're gonna launch both of our molds. Whoops. Then we're gonna set our molds to noise jam the AWACS on low frequency. So now basically they should be our molds should be covering us now. Now we're gonna switch up. Now hopefully what we're gonna do is we're gonna quick save real quick, and I'm gonna switch off my jamming, and I'm gonna turn on my radar. Now, as you can see, we have the AWACS X targeted. AWACS is tagged, and we can verify it's the AWACS that we have tagged by briefly locking it. Just don't lock him on for too long. Just briefly lock onto the target. And Fox 3. And Fox 3. Just briefly lock onto the target. It should say AEW 50. And now Fox 3. Now we just have to track the target until... Keep tracking the target until impact, you know how Fox 3s work. You should know how Fox 3s work. Let's try to stay behind the molds. Also try to like probably want to minimize your speed so you don't get too close. Also, you want to stay low in the canyon.
Pitbull.
Pitbull?
Altitude. Pitbull.
Alright, Pitbull. We're out of here. Pitbull? Alright, missiles have gone Pitbull. We're out of here.
Nice shot.
Alright, splash.
AWACS is going down.
Altitude.
Just return to base now.
Altitude.
Don't engage the fighters.
Altitude.
Roger that.
Altitude. Altitude.
Alright, splash on the AWACS.
Altitude.
We're out of here.
Altitude. Altitude.
Now we're just gonna head... That's splash on the AWACS. We're out of here. We're basically gonna fly directly... we're just gonna return back the way we came.
Altitude. Pull up. Pull up.
We did have to do that pretty quickly, so I didn't really get to explain how the radar works in this aircraft. It's basically... The radar basically works the same as... It's basically... I mean, the radar is... The radar in this aircraft is interesting because it's locked to the PPI display rather than the... It's locked to... It is locked to... I think this is the PPI display. Sorry, the B scope. No, this is the B scope display, right? Which one? No, it's locked to the PPI mode. You cannot change the mode of the radar display. It's always will always be on in PPI mode, and it also you cannot switch it to forward mode. It will always be on slew. You can also not change it from slew mode. So the radar is locked to slew mode. And the radar is locked to slew mode. And which means the radar is locked to slew mode, which means you have to manually adjust the radar scan elevation. So, which is why I like having the HUD view on for the radar. It helps visualize. It really helps visualize where your radar is pointing. Especially, basically, it'll show just that big rectangle, and you just want to keep the target in. So when guiding Fox 3s, you just want to keep the target in that rectangle, and you should be good. But yeah, that's the mission. We didn't even get detected. I switched my molds to decoy mode. Thought it might help maybe cover our. It might maybe help cover our escape. It doesn't really matter. They did not see us at all. And funnily enough, if you take out the AWACS without being spotted, like, no one will pursue you. They won't even know what happened. The escorting fighters will be like, well, our boss is dead. Now what? Well, I guess we'll just go home. So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, yeah. Our work here is done. That's returning to base. One of our molds was shot down, but you know, that's kind of the whole point. That's kind of the whole point. They're decoys. That's kind of the whole point of a decoy. Just take the hits for us. I believe if you get spotted, like if you get spotted after. If you get spotted after taking on the AOX, they might still send the fighters to kill you, but I'm not sure about that. but I'm not sure. Anyways, oh, our other mold has been shot down. It's fine. All right, base, sweet base. Let's come in. All right, return back at the base. Coming in. Let's come into land. Tower, Echo 1-1, request landing.
Echo 1-1, tower, cleared to land at runway 32.
We're assigned runway 32 again because of the winds. I'm also gonna like set the ILS. I'm actually gonna set the ILS. I'm gonna set the ILS frequency just to help guide us in because it's dark. All right, ILS frequency for runway 32 is 1055. They'll help guide us in the darkness. I mean, that's kind of guiding an aircraft in low visibility is kind of the whole the whole point of an ILS. But if you do get spotted, the fighters, the two AS-58s that are escorting the AWACS will come and hit towards you and try to kill you. Also, and additional AS-58s will also start taking off, but if you can take it out the AWACS quick enough, you should be able to escape before the extra AS-58s can even get close to you. But the main issue are the escorting AS-58s, because they are dangerous. Just try to. I actually, if you get spotted, I advise actually trying to shoot them down. Despite what command said, I think it's better to actually try to shoot them down, like use your AMRAMs. But also, let's just fire off your Phoenixes at the AWACS, and then try to take down the AS-58s. Try to shoot down the AS-58s with your AMRAMs and stuff, while also while still trying to guide the Phoenixes in. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult, but you don't really have a choice. That's why ideally you just don't want to get spotted. All right. Anyways, coming in. All right. On final approach, gear down, flaps down. We do have a bit of a crosswind on landing, so what you want to do is point that T-shaped reticle, keep that T-shaped reticle at the center of the runway, down the center of the runway, because basically that's your velocity vector corrected for wind. That's your velocity vector with the crosswind component. So basically, we're gonna be a bit of a crab angle, it's just a few degrees of crab, not too bad. And then and then we want to adjust, and then we want to straighten out just before touchdown. All right, nice.
Welcome back. Follow the taxi path to your parking area.
Nice. And also a super short landing because of that, due to the headwind. But yeah, we are down. Let's get out of this aircraft. I kind of forgot to flare. I kind of forgot to flare before landing because I was a bit too focused on the crosswind landing, but it's fine. And yeah, mission accomplished. That's a pretty short mission. And yeah, pretty short mission, and which is great because the next mission is just super long. It's really annoying. I hate it. But that's gonna be for next time. But that's a problem. But that's a problem from future me. That's gonna be it for today. With that, that's gonna be it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.